For over a century, Disney has been more than just a company. It's been a cultural force, a household name, and a symbol of childhood wonder. From Mickey Mouse to Marvel superheroes, from princesses to Jedi Knights, Disney's stories have shaped generations. Recently, the magic seems to be fading. The company that once captivated the world with its creativity and charm is now facing criticism, financial struggles, and a growing disconnect from its audience. How did this happen? How did the most powerful entertainment empire in the world find itself in crisis? This is the story of Disney, how it rose, how it reigned, and how it stumbled. Let's go back to where the magic all began. Chapter 1. The Magical Beginning, 1920s to 1930s. Walt Disney was born on the 5th of December, 1901, in Chicago, Illinois. From a young age, Walt displayed a remarkable imagination and artistic talent. He loved to draw, and his fascination with storytelling was evident even in childhood. After serving as an ambulance driver in World War I, Walt returned to the United States and began working in animation. He moved to Kansas City and founded Laugh-O-Gram Studios. Although that company eventually went bankrupt, it was where Walt began developing his vision. In 1923, Walt moved to Hollywood and teamed up with his brother Roy. They started the Disney Brothers Studio, which would later become the Walt Disney Company. One of Walt's early creations, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, was taken from him by his distributor. Devastated but determined, Walt created a new character, Mickey Mouse. Mickey debuted in 1928 in Steamboat Willie, one of the first cartoons to feature synchronized sound. The short was a massive hit and revolutionized animation. Mickey became an overnight sensation, appearing on merchandise, watches, and even newspapers. Walt continued pushing boundaries. In 1932, Disney won its first Academy Award for the Silly Symphonies cartoon series. Then, in 1937, Disney released Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first full-length animated feature film. Critics called it Disney's folly, believing no one would watch a feature-length cartoon. But Snow White became a monumental success, earning over $8 million during the Great Depression, a staggering amount at the time. This wasn't just a win. It was proof that Walt's dreams were valid. The film's success laid the foundation for what would become one of the greatest entertainment empires in history. Chapter 2. Expansion and Innovation, 1940s to 1960s. With Snow White's success, Walt reinvested the profits into creating new feature films. The 1940s and 1950s saw a wave of iconic releases. Pinocchio was praised for its emotional depth and innovative animation. Fantasia was a bold experiment blending classical music with surreal animation. Bambi was a touching coming-of-age tale with some of the most beautiful backgrounds in animation history. Cinderella was a massive financial success that helped stabilize the company post-World War II. During this time, Walt also began dreaming beyond the silver screen. He envisioned a place where families could experience the magic of Disney in real life. That dream led to the creation of Disneyland, which opened in 1955 in Anaheim, California. Despite skeptics calling it Walt's folly, just like Snow White, the park was an instant hit. Walt oversaw every detail, from the design of Main Street to the immersive lands like Fantasyland, Adventureland, and Tomorrowland. Disneyland wasn't just an amusement park, it was a living storybook. In addition to the parks, Walt entered the world of television. The Mickey Mouse Club and the Wonderful World of Disney were pioneering programs that expanded Disney's reach into American homes. Disney became a cultural juggernaut, beloved by children and respected by adults. But in 1966, tragedy struck. Walt Disney died of lung cancer at the age of 65. His passing left a massive void. The visionary who had built an empire from a cartoon mouse was gone. The future of Disney was uncertain. Chapter 3. The Dark Years, 1970s to 1980s. After Walt's death, Disney entered a period of instability and creative uncertainty. Without Walt's leadership, the company struggled to find its identity. Although it continued producing films, many lacked the charm and innovation of earlier works. Movies like The Aristocats, Robin Hood, and The Rescuers were moderately successful, but didn't have the same cultural impact. In the 1980s, Disney attempted darker and more experimental projects like The Black Cauldron, which failed at the box office and was critically panned. Disney's animation division was faltering. Meanwhile, competitors like Don Bluth, a former Disney animator, began producing successful films like An American Tail and The Land Before Time, putting pressure on Disney. Internally, the company was facing boardroom struggles, with hostile takeover attempts threatening to dismantle it. In 1984, a corporate shakeup brought in new leadership. Michael Eisner became CEO, and Frank Wells became president. Together with Jeffrey Katzenberg, they began revitalizing the brand. Eisner modernized the company, expanding into television, merchandise, and more ambitious films. The stage was set for a remarkable comeback. Chapter 4: The Renaissance Era, 1980 to 1999. In 1989, Disney released The Little Mermaid, which marked the beginning of the Disney Renaissance, a decade of creative and financial success that re-established Disney as an animation powerhouse. The Little Mermaid was followed by Beauty and the Beast, the first animated film nominated for Best Picture. Aladdin, a commercial hit featuring Robin Williams as the genie. The Lion King, a cultural phenomenon and one of the highest-grossing animated films ever. All contributed to Disney's dominance. These films combined stunning animation, memorable music, emotional depth, and appeal to all ages. Disney also expanded its theme parks globally, opening Disneyland Paris in 1992, initially Euro Disney, and planning for future international growth. Merchandising boomed. VHS sales of animated classics brought in billions. Disney became more than a studio. It was a brand. Television animation also saw success with DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Gargoyles, and Recess. The company also expanded into Broadway, with Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King becoming smash hit musicals. By the end of the 1990s, Disney was back on top, but behind the scenes, tension was building. Chapter 5: The Corporate Giant, 2000s. The early 2000s brought massive changes. Frank Wells had died in 1994, and tension between Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg led to Katzenberg's departure. Eventually, Eisner's leadership came under fire. In 2005, Bob Iger replaced Eisner as CEO and immediately set out on an acquisition spree. Pixar, 2006. Disney acquired Pixar for $7.4 billion, reuniting the companies and bringing in leadership like Ed Catmull and John Lasseter. Marvel, 2009. For $4 billion, Disney purchased Marvel Entertainment, gaining access to over 5,000 characters. Lucasfilm, 2012. Disney acquired the Star Wars franchise for $4 billion, along with Indiana Jones and other properties. 21st Century Fox, 2019. A $71 billion deal gave Disney control of Fox's film and television assets, including The Simpsons, Avatar, and X-Men. These acquisitions turned Disney into an entertainment behemoth, with a near monopoly on blockbuster franchises. The Marvel Cinematic Universe became a global success. Films like Avengers, Endgame broke records. Disney's box office domination was unrivaled. Theme parks continued to expand with new lands like Pandora, based on Avatar, and Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars. Disney Channel produced mega hits like Hannah Montana, Lizzie McGuire, and High School Musical, shaping teen culture. But cracks were starting to show. Audiences began to feel that Disney was relying too much on safe bets, sequels, reboots, and remakes. Chapter 6: The Streaming Gamble and the Pandemic Hit, 2020 to 2022. In 2019, Disney launched its own streaming service, Disney+. The timing seemed perfect. The Mandalorian, a new Star Wars show, became a hit. Subscriptions soared. And with the Fox deal, Disney had content for all demographics. Then came 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic shut down movie theaters and theme parks. Disney lost billions. To cope, it pushed its content strategy towards streaming. Big-budget films like Mulan and Soul skipped theaters and debuted on Disney+. The company shifted its focus to digital content, planning numerous Marvel and Star Wars spin-off series. But this rapid expansion led to burnout. Audiences began complaining about content fatigue. The magic was thinning. Budgets were bloated. Not every show or movie met expectations. Meanwhile, the parks struggled to recover. International travel restrictions, rising ticket prices, and reduced guest services sparked backlash. Chapter 7. Creative Struggles and Political Controversy, 2022 to 2023. Disney, long considered politically neutral, became a lightning rod for controversy. In 2022, Disney publicly opposed Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. Governor Ron DeSantis retaliated by stripping Disney of its special governance district in Florida. The once cozy relationship between Disney and the state turned into a political battle. At the same time, criticism over forced messaging in Disney films gained traction. Some fans accused the company of prioritizing politics over storytelling. Others applauded the inclusive steps. Regardless of stance, the backlash was real. Creative misfires added fuel to the fire. Lightyear underperformed. Strange World bombed. Marvel's Phase 4 received mixed reviews. Films like Eternals and Thor, Love and Thunder were criticized. The Marvels became one of the lowest-grossing MCU films ever. Pixar, once Disney's crown jewel, lost its luster. Films like Onward and Elemental failed to connect like classics such as Up or Toy Story. Chapter 8. Financial Stress and Brand Damage, 2023 to 2024. Disney faced declining stock prices, revenue drops, and massive layoffs. Bob Chapek, who replaced Iger in 2020, was ousted in late 2022, and Iger returned as CEO. But the return didn't magically fix things. Streaming became less profitable as investors demanded earnings instead of just subscriber growth. Disney raised prices, but users started canceling. Disney Plus was losing billions per year. Theme parks remained a cash cow, but suffered from bad PR. Stories about dirty parks, broken rides, long wait times, and sky-high prices became common. The brand was no longer untouchable. Trust was eroding. Chapter 9. The Uncertain Future. Disney is still a giant, but a wounded one. Bob Iger is restructuring the company, trimming content, cutting costs, and focusing on quality over quantity. There's talk of spinning off or selling parts of the company, including ESPN. Originality is key to revival. Disney is returning to basics, strong characters, meaningful stories, and emotional depth. The competition is fiercer than ever. Netflix, Amazon, and YouTube dominate digital media. Younger audiences are harder to reach. But Disney still has a legacy. It still owns characters people love, and if it can rediscover what made it magical in the first place, it could rise again. Because at the end of the day, Disney isn't just a brand, it's a dream.